Yo, what's going on, everybody? The Cool Geek here, and I'm back for another video. And today we're talking about chakra, what it is, how it works, and some of the abilities that come with it by default. Let's get into it. Alright, so chakra is essentially just the energy in Naruto that everyone uses to feel their abilities, right? And it's made up of two core parts, that being physical energy and spiritual energy, right? So that basically just means that Naruto characters, right, they naturally have physical energy and spiritual energy, right? And then they combined it together to make chakra to then perform whatever jutsu they're using. This is confirmed by the manga. It's stated multiple times. And also in one of the data books, it says physical energy and mental energy, although that mental part is most likely just a mistranslation, and it's supposed to be physical and spiritual. That would make it consistent, right? Um, and it's and keep in mind, right, when they say jutsu, right, the jutsu directly translates to technique in English. So when they say you need so much chakra in order to perform a jutsu, that's literally any technique in the verse, right? Uh, Everything stemming from like punches and kicks, that being like taijutsu, right? Taijutsu techniques, to ninjutsu, like say the fireball jutsu, Rasengan, Chidori, etc., and even like genjutsu, right? Everything is a jutsu. Everything is a technique, unless it's nothing, right? So anything that is like a technique is considered a jutsu and thus requires chakra. Um, so yeah, and now a lot of people don't know this, but this also includes taijutsu as well. Um, Naruto characters amp their physical capabilities with chakra, and that's basically why characters that have like more chakra tend to be stronger, right? Because they're amping their techniques with chakra, right? They're amping their punches, kicks, and their speed, right? Everything gets amped by chakra, and this is confirmed not only by the data book, but it's also confirmed by the anime and also one of the novels where Itachi, right, as a kid, he uses the same sort of technique that's explained, like how Tsunade and Sakura does it, but essentially it says that even a little kid, as long as they've been keeping up on their ninja training, can basically destroy like large boulders and crap because they're being amped by their chakra. So even if you're like 5, you can still like do crazy stuff because you're being amped by chakra, right? And so that amps your speed and your AP, right? All your major stats and your durability, of course, because if Sasuke were to, I mean not Sasuke, if Itachi were to go and punch that boulder, right, and he was like strong but not very durable, it wouldn't have done anything really. It would have he would have broke the boulder, but he would have also broken himself, right? His fist would have like died, sort of like when people in real life, like a normal person, if you were to go like punch a brick wall, your fist would most likely break, right? You would like break your fingers and crap, right? So yeah, you become stronger, faster, and more durable when you amp your physical capabilities with chakra. Um, so that's basically just a basic description of like chakra and one of its uses, right? That being to amp your techniques, right? So the thing, right, is it does amp your physical capabilities, but the part that most people don't understand, and the main reason I wanted to make this video, is that it's not just like raw power, right? One of the components is literally spiritual energy. So what this means essentially is that if a Naruto character were to say damage you, they're also damaging your soul, right? So yeah, and this would mean that since they're amping their durability, they also have soul durability inherently, right? Because what they have is they're being amped by physical and spiritual energy. So this would mean that their spirit is essentially amped. As you can see, one of the paths of the Rinnegan, even, it's specifically ripping out people's souls, right? And that's considered a jutsu, one of the jutsu of the Rinnegan. So, yeah, and then it requires chakra, so essentially chakra is what's letting him rip your soul out, basically, right? And also there are other jutsu that are a bit less well known, but another one that's pretty well known is the Edo Tensei, right? Um, and it literally brings people back from the dead by, like, making soul contracts. It's really weird, because, like, they have to make a contract. It's essentially a mix between, like, a summoning jutsu and, another type of jutsu, but essentially, right, for a summoning jutsu, you have to, like, make a contract with the person you're summoning, but, like, in this case, it's someone dead, so you have to make a contract for a ghost. It's really weird. So, yeah, there are a few different jutsu, at the very least, at least 3 that come to mind. There's also one that, like, apparently Toby Rama made it. It's one that, like, it's, where, like, that one person in the war, they, like left their, like, they were going to, like, after the Edo Tensei was released, they went to go, like, help Tsunade. It was like Tsunade's lover used it, but most people don't care about that. But there's 2 big ones, right? The Edo Tensei and the Rinnegan ripping your soul out technique, right? So yeah, it's pretty consistent that Naruto characters have, like, soul offense and defense. So yeah, now, let's get into a little more of the nitty-gritty. Okay, so I don't want to stay on this section for too long, but I just want to break down the basics. So, essentially, uh, in the Narutoverse, the most common, say, natures for chakra, right? Because they're literally called chakra natures, but essentially, the 5 most common are water, wind, fire, lightning, and earth, right? And all of them have pretty different properties, like, say, the fire burns you, the water smacks you with concussive force, etc., 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 right? So basically, when it comes to chakra, like I already said, since it does damage not only your physical body but also your soul, then it would stand to reason that when, say, you get hit with the fireball jutsu, right, and it burns you, it would be logical to say that when it burns you, since chakra is also spiritual energy, it would burn your body and your soul, right? Not saying it's gonna, like, obliterate your soul or anything, but it should definitely cause damage to your soul. Um, so yeah, and then I do think that it's important to specify that it seems like in the Naruto verse, the more you say purify chakra is when it gets stronger, pretty much. Now, this is kind of weird because what I mean by this is that Kekkei Genkai are considered significantly stronger than base nature elements, right? And Kekkei Toda are stronger than that, and Yin Yang release is the strongest quote unquote chakra nature of them all, when it's actually the origin of them all, and it's essentially chakra in its purest form, right? So we have fireball jutsu that essentially, like, burn you, and then that does, like, a little bit of damage, right? Then you have Kekkei Genkai, which are a mixture of 2, which, like, do, like, um, look at it this way, right? If you get hit with, like, a boil release technique, right? It's not just, like, fire that's burning you and water that's smacking you. It's essentially both, right? If you get hit with, like, it's I like to think of it this way, right? You can get hit with fire and it'll burn you. You can get hit with the water and it'll just slap the crap out of you. But if you get hit with boiling water, it's burning you and slapping the crap out of you, right? So, yeah, it's essentially compounding the damage. And then you have Kekkei Toda, which is what Inoki has, which combines 3 nature transformations, right? 3 nature elements. In his case specifically, well, technically we don't see any Kekkei Toda besides Inoki, but whatever. But anyway, Inoki can combine earth, wind, and fire. And doing that, he gets the ability to destroy you on an atomic level. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Um, it's weird depending on what translations you go with. Sometimes it's called the atomic dismantling jutsu. Sometimes it's called the molecular something jutsu. But so essentially, right, he can destroy you on an atomic level, so logic would then dictate what that would do to your soul, right? Is just like break apart your soul on those sort of similar levels. Um, Now, how you want to interpret that can mean pretty much anything, right? It'll just like damage your soul, but it might not really mean anything. It's really weird because it should damage your soul, but it doesn't destroy your soul because people can get like destroyed, right? Like for instance, now this is kind of segueing into the next category of like chakra, but when Onoki blasted Madara's Edo Tensei body with his particle style, Madara was able to regenerate because the Edo Tensei made him regenerate from pretty much just his soul, right? But when, say, Minato gets his arms cut off with truth-seeking orbs, which are made of yin-yang release chakra, they don't regenerate. Your soul is just gone. It just erases you from existence, pretty much, right? Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the difference, right? The more pure you get the chakra, the more damage it does, right? So you go from getting burned or like smacked, you level up a little bit, then you go atomically dismantles you pretty much, right? And then after that, it completely erases you from existence. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the how that works, the nitty gritty of that. So yeah, and there's more evidence, right, for the chakra like being pure instead of mixed when it goes to yin yang release, because a lot of people are sort of they don't really get when I say like pure. They assume that the nature transformations, right, the five basic elemental ones, they assume that those are the pure ones, and like the Kekkei Genkai are mixed, Kekkei Toda is more mixed, etc., etc. But that's actually opposite. And basically, the reason we know this, basically for 100%, not exactly, but it's basically 100% confirmed, is when Kaguya, quote unquote, was given pretty much all of the chakra. That's what it said. She got all the chakra. Um, and her two kids ended up both inheriting yin yang release, right? But after that, this is important because Hagoromo's sons, Indra and Ashura, one of them was later found the Uchiha clan, and the other the Senju, right? Now the thing is, the Uchiha are known for being skilled in fire release, right? And they have like the Sharingan, right? But the important thing here is that one of the sons got a essentially was basically his whole shtick was like his like bloodline's whole shtick is fire, right? And then the Senju, we know that Hashirama Senju was like the only one with wood release, pretty much, which is water and earth release. So you can say that and then Tobirama, right? He was known as like the ultimate like water style user, pretty much. So we know that two members of the Senju clan that we know of are highly skilled in the use of water jutsu, right? So that's basically when Kaguya's chakra gets diluted and split. Not only do their say dojutsu get like weaker, and in the case of like Indra and Ashura, one of them had dojutsu and one of them didn't. Not only do their dojutsu get weaker, but essentially the chakra natures get like diluted and like weird too, and like split. So yeah, I think that's pretty important to note, right? So, yeah, on to the next segment. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over is pretty much amount of chakra versus potency of chakra. And this is kind of weird because in the Naruto verse, there are a bunch of different jutsu, and they all work a bit different, but they all sort of follow the same sort of principles, I guess you can say, and the same sort of like rules, right? And this is mainly important for, say, scaling characters, for like how much faster or stronger they are. And this is very important, and it's kind of given to you in certain parts of the series. For example, it was directly stated that if you have a jutsu, the higher chakra density that it has, the stronger it is. Specifically, the Rasengan, when Jiraiya was teaching Naruto how to perform the Rasengan, he basically divided into stages. And one of the stages was learning how to make the Rasengan more dense, right? He said first you have to rotate the chakra, then you have to make it more dense, and contain it pretty much, right? So yeah, and that's very important for the Rasengan to be as potent as it is, because it said the shape, you have to maintain the shape, right? And you have to maintain the density, etc., right? So, for jutsu, right, this would extend to more than just the Rasengan, right? Because the Rasengan is like the best jutsu in terms of like shape transformation, and its density makes it pretty strong too, right? And it has really high density. Ideally, you'd make it as dense as you possibly could, right? So that's one of the things that makes it so strong, but this would also extend to other jutsu, like, say, the Chidori, right, which is based off of the Rasengan. It's actually like a failed Rasen Shuriken, pretty much, like a failed lightning Rasen Shuriken, I guess you could call it. Oh snap, I smell fan fiction. Anyway, um, so yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So, and other jutsu too, right? Because when you have a jutsu and you put more chakra into it, you by extension sort of make it more dense, right? So essentially, the way Jiraiya basically explained it was you have to pour more chakra into it, but keep the same surface area, right? Or pour it all into a certain volume, right? And just keep compressing it more and more and more until you max out on how tight you can pack the chakra, right? So that's basically one of the fundamentals, right? So this is something that comes up a lot when I debate people, because I like to bring up amounts of chakra a lot, right? And people say, well, why does, like, what does that have to do with anything, right? Why does having 2 times as much chakra make you 2 times stronger, right? But the reason is you can make your attacks 2 times as dense, right? And this is sort of this sort of kind of relates to like real life, right? So force equals mass times acceleration. So like if you double the mass, right, you would essentially double the the force, right? Now I might be oversimplifying that a little bit, but you get the picture. I came up with that off the top of my head just now. So that's pretty much what I mean by that. So, for instance, if someone makes a Rasengan, right, and they have like a standard Rasengan, right, and it has, say, a half the density of someone else's Rasengan, it would more than likely be half as strong, right? And that's something that's really important. So if you have someone who has, say, a certain amount of chakra, and then someone has more, that would extend to other jutsu, right? Like the water dragon jutsu, or the water bullet jutsu, and just other jutsu. You just compact more chakra and make your jutsu stronger. But there's also chakra potency, right? Which is sort of, now here's the thing, right? Amount of chakra can sort of be turned into chakra potency, but chakra potency cannot be turned into amount of chakra. So essentially, here's an example. If you were to have infinite chakra, you can compress that chakra into a finite space, making, like, say you made a Rasengan, right? And you did what I just said, right? So you have a Rasengan and you put an infinite an infinite amount of chakra into a finite amount of space, right? Then your Rasengan would be infinitely chakra dense, right? You'd have an infinite chakra density. But if you have infinite chakra potency, you can't just make more weaker chakra. It doesn't work that way, right? So that's really important. So if you have like infinite potency, you can't just get infinite like like stamina and make your potency finite. That's not how it works. It doesn't work both ways, right? Sort of a one-way relationship. Where, like I said before, you can make higher potency with your amount of chakra by increasing density. At least so far, there hasn't been shown any ways to increase density to decrease density in order to have more amounts, right? So, yeah. Now, this is very important because the more chakra potency you have, the more you'll be able to do, right? So, your chakra potency directly correlates to your attack potency and your speed, right? So, if you have less attack potency than less chakra potency, you have less attack potency, right? If you if you have like more chakra and you know how to use it properly to make, say, Rasengans, Shidoris, etc., you usually can have higher attack potency via making your attacks more dense, right? Increase the density for maximum attack potency, right? Which is pretty important because the higher your potency, the more you'll be able to do, right? Because like I mentioned earlier in the video, all jutsu rely on chakra. So if you want to say create something, right? So say you have creation hacks like Kagi or Momoshiki. If you want to create a planet, you're gonna need a planet's worth of chakra, right? You're gonna need the density to make the, like, you'll need the chakra potency in order to make something that dense, and then you need the amount of chakra to say make something that big. Or heck, I'm pretty sure even like flat out potency you can use, like, okay, this is a, like, say a little bit of chakra, but it equals a planet, right? Sort of like a E equals MC squared sort of scenario, right? Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, right? So if you have this energy, right, then you can convert it to mass pretty much. So if you have this chakra, you have to have that chakra in order to create this thing, right? So you're converting your energy, right, your chakra, into mass. So you have to have enough chakra slash potent enough chakra to make whatever you're making. And same goes for destroying, right? If you want to destroy a mountain, right? Say you're a tailed beast, right? And you want to destroy a mountain. You're gonna need enough chakra in order to destroy that mountain. Disclaimer: I'm not saying that the Biju are mountain level, like only mountain level, or that like Kagi is only planet level. I'm not saying that. Those are just examples. But yeah, that was basically the point I was trying to make. Right? Is you need enough chakra slash chakra potency in order to do certain things. But raw amount of chakra is very useful. You probably, if you've seen the series, you probably know this by now, but the more chakra you have that's basically directly proportional to the amount of clones you can make, right? And the amount of, say, attacks, right? But your chakra potency is important because of your attack potency, pretty much. And amounts of chakra is also kind of attack potency too, like I mentioned before. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to get out. Alright, so quick recap. We went over what chakra is, some of the basic sort of stuff it does, right? You can use it to, like, attack people physically and spiritually. And then we went over how you need certain amounts of chakra and certain chakra potency in order to accomplish certain things. And yeah, and I just want to press the point one more time that the amount, the chakra potency you have is amping all your stats, right? So the more chakra you have and the more potent the chakra, the faster, stronger, more durable you are, because it amps all stats, right? So that's very important, especially for future videos. It's a little bit of foreshadowing I'm doing right here. So yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all to the video, guys. Let me know what you think. This is the first time I'm making like a full-fledged video with my new video editor. Yeah, dude, I've already, like, each section of this video, I basically edited, like, separately, and this is the third section, and I'm kind of burnt out. So, if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the editing, leave a like. Don't forget to also subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let me know what type of content you want to see next. Also, any sort of suggestions you have. Let me know how, like, what do you think of the editing? Is it, not good enough, or is it good? Let me know what you think. And yeah, thank you for watching. The Cool Geek out. Bye.